to every veteran here today and all across our land. You are America's greatest living heroes, and we will cherish you now, always, and forever.
That was President Trump speaking at the start of the annual Veterans Day parade here in New York City, taking time, as everyone should on this Veterans Day, to thank and recognize the service and sacrifice all service members and their families make for the country. There are roughly 200,000 service members deployed overseas right now, and at a time when the country feels more divided than ever in recent memory, what does this mean for a day and a platform that is supposed to be beyond politics? Joining me right now is the founder of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America organization, a veteran himself who served in Iraq and has spent, I would say, all of your time since trying to help fellow veterans. Paul Rieckhoff. It's good to see you again, Paul.
You too.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
Which is a statement of something I want to get to, what we're not talking enough about. You were outspoken leading up to today on the president's choice to come and speak in New York, and you made clear that you were boycotting the Veterans Day parade. What did you make then of what you heard from the president?
It was fine. I mean, he didn't screw up, which was good. He didn't drag us into politics, which was good. But his presence still politicizes an event that is not supposed to be about him. This is the one day that's supposed to be beyond politics. And that event, I've been going to it ever since I came home. I've been a leader at it for a long time, right? It's about unity. It's about cohesion. It's about no politics. And with his arrival, it just politicized everything. The comparison I gave, Kate, was imagine if he was coming to your wedding. Right? Like, there's no way it's not political. And for us, it's kind of like homecoming. It's like a wedding. So now there are protests. Now you're covering him instead of the 5 grand marshals that are there and so many other veterans. It really just sucks the oxygen out of it. And for me, it's been a troubling trend of politicizing our military and our veterans over and over again.
And that is a fair criticism. And that actually gets to something that you and I have talked about. I don't know if it's been on camera as much as off camera, but on the whole politicization of the military, or using the military and service members as a political backdrop that you and I have talked about a lot. In a day and time when everything does feel overly political, how do you get it right?
Well, you try to put it on pause. I mean, for one day, and focus on the policies. Don't talk about the politics, right? Today, he did try to raise up some of the honorable people who've served, talking about folks who are at Battle of the Bulge or Vietnam veterans, all generations, and bring them together. But honestly, I wish all politicians would stay away for the day. Don't even come. I mean, if it was up to me, the mayor, the governor, all of them, just stay home. They are political. And
then make sure to tell everybody to not criticize.
Yeah, they are political by nature, right? Yeah. There have been times on political campaigns after tragedies.
But he's the commander-in-chief,
But he's not our normal commander-in-chief, right? Like a week ago, he was attacking Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, who is an active duty officer. A couple weeks ago, he's attacking John McCain. I mean, the history goes on and on and on. So this is not a normal situation with a normal commander-in-chief, and he hasn't been to the parade any other year. Right? So now he wants to come at a time when everybody wants to talk about impeachment. So I think you see over and over again, when his back's against the wall politically, he pivots into veterans and he pivots into the military and uses them not just as a backdrop, but sometimes as a shield. And that is unprecedented, and that's very dangerous. And that's what I want to bring attention to, and I think many other veterans do as well.
So let's bring attention to a common thread throughout all of our conversations over the years that you've been nice enough to join me. The single issue that veterans are struggling with most is suicide. And the fact that that is the singular common thread throughout our conversations makes me wonder if you see any progress, or is there any hope, or what needs to be discussed, or what hasn't been done? Because this is you and I, our conversations don't change when it comes to
there is hope. We're talking about it. I mean, in the early days, we had to fight to get folks to talk about suicide, to get them to talk about this mental health menace that's taking as many as 20 veterans a day. But today is a good example of a missed opportunity on behalf of the president. He could have launched a national agenda to focus on veteran suicide. That's an example of something I think everyone would have rallied behind. It's a little more creative. It's definitely more strategic, but we're losing more veterans every day to suicide than we are to any enemy. So this can be a galvanizing issue if it's done right.
And that it comes to you and me. Like you and we need to focus on it as well, and we can remember that on this Veterans Day. If you would stick with me, because before we go, there is one last tribute to the nation's veterans that we do want to leave you with. Last night, 96-year-old World War II veteran Pete Dupre, he performed the national anthem before the Knicks game. Forget about the basketball, folks. Dupre stole the show. Listen to this. Thank you, Mr. Dupre. No, our hat is off to you, sir, not to everyone else. Thank you, Paul. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back.